MetroNews Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval is presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Governor's Radio Town Hall. Governor Jim Justice is with us, and while we were sitting here, we weren't talking about government, talking about sports. You were up to the Fairmont game, and what was your take on that?
Well, Hoppy, naturally I was disappointed from the standpoint that we lost the game, but really, really proud from the standpoint of they made our whole state proud, and that's all there is to it. We just couldn't get in a rhythm. I mean, that's just all there is to it. We only scored 21 points in the first half. We know we averaged 95 points a game, and they tried. They tried really hard. They were playing a very formidable opponent and everything, but they made us proud, and that's all there is to it. So,
yeah, I think there are reports that Coach Jared Calhoun may be going to Youngstown State and taking that job. We've been checking on that today, but he's in the running for that job. You also watch with interest the West Virginia game.
Yeah, well, Hoppy, in that game.
Are you going to complain about the officials here?
I am. That's all there is to it. Really and truly, we all know we've got to adapt to a style of officiating in a game, whether it's be called close or let them play. But in that game, I mean, we're playing a monstrous team. And college basketball at that level doesn't need to be called a little ticky-tacky fouls and everything like it was called. It was absolutely ridiculous from my standpoint, and it really worked against us big time.
All right. Let's get to issues then. Let's go right to the phones. Talk to you, Governor. Mike from Winfield. Mike, you're first up, and you want to talk to the Governor about potential DHHR cuts. You're on with the Governor. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, good morning, Governor. Thanks for taking the time here. Governor, I will say, first off, I have a very small family in West Virginia, and I can take you, and I would gladly come to your office. I have 6 people in my family who have systematically abused the assistance programs in West Virginia since the day they turned 18, whether it be disability, welfare, etc. I don't hear your office or any Republican talking about fixing fraud and abuse in West Virginia. We cannot continue to pay the bills of those who won't contribute. And my family's a big part of that. Governor, I am part of that 1% in West Virginia that you want to tax extra $750 a year because of income. I'm willing to do that. I own businesses here, etc. But no one is going after the people that refuse to work in this state and contribute. When will you, the Democrats and Republicans, get serious about making people that can contribute get a job and contribute?
Well, Mike, let me say this. First of all, thank you so much for all the wonderful contribution that you do for our state. Now, let me just say this. Bill Crouch, you don't know Bill Crouch, and I've only been here just a little while, but Bill Crouch with DHHR, he is all over this fraud issue, and to be perfectly honest, we will run that to the ends of the earth. Now, there's no question that there's some people out there that are abusing. Now, the overwhelming majority of the people are not. But at the same time, there are people that are, and you haven't given me time enough, nor do you know how I feel about that. I absolutely feel that those people that are abusing and those people that are taking advantage and those people that are fraudulently doing things, they absolutely need to be penalized and penalized to the fullest extent of any law that we could possibly do. So the long and short of it is, give me time. Bill Crouch is a superstar, and you'll see some real results with that.
Mike, thanks for the call. Dave in Shinston. Dave wants to talk to you, Governor, about state and local governments, how they could maybe be combined or some ways to reduce any duplicity. David, hi, you're on with the Governor.
Hi, Governor. Thank you very much for taking the time to take my call.
Yes, sir, Dave.
I'm personally have been of the feeling for many years a new paradigm is needed in West Virginia. There were 55 counties created back in the day before we had telephones, high-speed internet, and everything. And I see now, a lot of your bigger cities areas, they go to a metro government. Is it time that we actually, and I realize there's partially people don't want to give things up, but a serious look be taken as far as consolidation of county governments, sheriff's departments, boards of education, in order to cut back some of the costs that we're expending on duplicity of services. And, I'd be interested in your feelings on that. I know it's not an easy subject because we're very territorial, and we want to keep what's ours. But I feel like, we don't have the money to have 55 counties in this state anymore, or 55 boards of education, 55 sheriff's
All
department.
right, let's ask the governor.
And,
Governor, any thoughts on consolidation of governments?
Well, Dave, let me say this, that we're a very diverse state, for one thing. I mean, we have, our city, our major population centers, and we have very rural centers, and on and on and on and on. So it becomes a little more difficult, and we have people that have staked their ground, and they're used to certain things, and that change becomes difficult as well. But you're right in that we have a duplication of agencies, and the perfect example of that is in our education department today. I mean, we have layered on bureaucracy after bureaucracy, and we have grown from half the students that we had in 1980 to a situation today where we have 10 times the number of bureaucrats that we had in 1980, and we had double the students in 1980. So you make a good point, and things absolutely need to be looked at and combined together in lots of different areas, but remember, we are a very diverse state as well.
Thank you for the call. Politically, very difficult to do. I hear a lot of people talking about consolidation, but it's just that's a hard nut to crack.
Very difficult.
Politically. Joe in Parkersburg. Joe wants to talk about the Reeses. Hi, Joe. Welcome in. You're on with Governor Jim Justice on the Regional Education Service Agencies.
Thank you, Hoppy and Governor Justice. This is Joe Oliverio, Executive Director, RESA 5. Governor, I've been following your House Bill 2711 and really concerned with, one, the abolishment of RESAs, but more importantly, the timeline to do it. The fact that the superintendents have to form those quadrants by June 1 when they're busy with graduation, proms, testing, and spring sports now, and then between June 1 and July 1, they've got to hire a cooperative director with no funds. The director has to hire a staff and prepare this menu to deliver services. And then the quadrant is the employer, whereas right now the Department of Education and the State Board are the employer. It seems like the plan may be good, but if it took a year to develop, we could sit down and have structured conversations with those superintendents on what their wishes are and confirm our staffs accordingly. What's the thought with
the same play? Now, there's no question that I salute all the people that have done a wonderful job and everything, and I'm trying to follow the people's, mindset.
Once again, thank you.
Well, Randy, listen, I came out in the campaign and everything right off the get-go and said I thought we had many, much more serious problems than to try to address a right-to-work situation in West Virginia. I felt like it was, in many ways, growing a bush, that it was a political, thing that we could hide behind it and say, well, look what we accomplished, look what we did. I have yet to have the first company ever in all my life come to me and say, if you had a right to work law in West Virginia, we'd come. And I'm sure there are people, our companies out there that would do it, but I've never had one come to me and say that. Now, at the end of the day, we do have a right to work law now. And we need to go on and move forward, and we need to address the major things that are really holding us back. I don't think right to work's holding us back in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and I wasn't in favor of it in the beginning.
And there's a political note there too, Governor, because if you did want to push for repeal of right to work, you don't have the numbers in the House or the Senate.
It would be a total waste of my time.
Okay. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Bob in Charleston. Hi, Bob. Welcome in. You want to talk about the toll road system, and that might give the governor an opportunity to work in something he wanted to say about tolls today. So, Bob, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, Your Honor. Hoppy. About the toll plaza on the West Virginia Turnpike, a good way to generate revenue is Canada has a system where they take pictures of the license plate of non-residents, and then they send them a bill. Maybe that's something to consider about the toll roads in West Virginia, about eliminating the toll booths and setting up cameras.
Bob, thanks for the call. But, Governor, you want to use that as an opportunity to talk about where you are on tolls and your whole road plan?
Well, I can. But, Bob, everybody's got a wonderful idea. And trust me, believe me, if we opened this to everybody's ideas, we'd never get through all the ideas. And I don't know about that, but it may be a good system. But let me just say this. Right now, as part of my roads plan, and the roads plan will absolutely, nobody disagrees with this, it will absolutely create almost 50,000, that's as many people that are in Charleston today, 50,000 new jobs. And it's moving through. But one of the things that's slowly moving through is the raising of the tolls. And you know, at the end of the day, if it doesn't move through, it's going to really substantially hurt, you know, our roads job or our roads plan. But here's the bottom line of the whole thing. If we leave it just like it is today, and we don't change it, here's the thing I would say. You got two people that are standing outside the door that you're going to have to address. One has never had an easy pass, but he's got $8 in his hand. And he's saying, well, I want to pay the $8 and I want to go for free. Well, what are you going to tell him? You know, and the other thing is there's another guy outside the door and he's got $8 in his hand and he's had an easy pass, and every time he goes through, he has to pay $1.30, you know, that's tagged to his credit card or whatever it may be. And he's saying, I want to do the $8 thing. Well, and for West Virginians, it's an incredible, you know, good savings to the people of West Virginia, and we need to have it go through.
That's moving more slowly. However, the gasoline tax is moving, Governor, and the Garvey bond portion is moving. Those two things are moving.
Those things are moving, and that's really good. And that's just going to let us build roads and create jobs.
All right, we're going to take a break and come back. Bottom of the hour news, and we'll come back. It's the Governor's second radio town hall meeting here on MetroNews. You talk directly with the governor at 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK, or you can text me, 304-TALK, 304. I got a bunch of texts that have come in, so when we come back, we'll get to some of those as well. So talk directly with the governor here on the radio town hall. We're at the AARP broadcast location. We've moved it down to the governor's conference room today for this show. We'll be right back. This is Talk Line on MetroNews. MetroNews is the voice of West Virginia. We're at the radio town hall with the governor here in the governor's conference room at the Capitol. And, Governor, let me, I'm going to get back to the phones in a minute, 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK, and some text questions as well. But I want to ask you, significant developments over the weekend. The House Finance Committee on Friday passed two bills.
I am not a fan of the food tax, and the reason I'm not is because I think it hurts the weakest, and so, but I am, the proposal that I made, whether it be a quarter or a half a percent on sales tax, would get us to the same destination, and I don't think that the sides are too far apart on that. As far as the teacher's pay raise, it was tagged to a refinance of the teacher's retirement fund. And we can't do that because mathematically that's suicidal. I mean, that we cannot do that, and we've got to find a way to plug the teacher's pay raise back in without doing that. Now, as far as my SOS fund going from 35 to 15 or whatever like that, I don't care about that. And at the end of the day, it would be nice if we could settle somewhere around 20 and maybe find some other discretionary monies, that we could prop that up, because that's just a marketing of our state. And it needs to be done really, really badly. Now, as far as not digging into DHHR and really not digging into K through 12 or higher ed, that's the gist of everything to me, because that's the philosophy part of this whole thing. You've got to get there without cutting into the bone and hurting our state. So I do think we're moving the right way, and I really, really believe that we'll get to the right answer, and I stand ready to meet and ready to work, and you've got some great people on both sides of the aisle that are really trying, and that's good stuff.
Tax question, Governor, you continue to want to give classroom teachers a pay raise. Why can't you get a pay raise, for state employees, asks Matthew.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that's got to follow, and we got to get the state jump started and going, and then absolutely I'm a believer wholeheartedly that the state employees all need a pay raise. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, it's been too long. But here's the straight skinny. We've got 700 classrooms that can't field a teacher, and we really need to some way start moving in a direction to where we shove education right to the forefront of everything we're doing.
Let's go back to the phones at 1-800-765-8255 to talk directly with the governor in this radio town hall with the governor. Stephanie in Charleston. Hi, Stephanie. Wants to ask a question about the minimum wage. The minimum wage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been researching raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, or at least phasing it in. It would increase the revenue, and it would make the burden of increased taxes, easier for the people. Is that something that you would pursue?
Stephanie, I appreciate the question. I think the minimum wage needs to be raised, no question about that. Whether it needs to go to $15 or whatever it needs to go to is argumentative. But that's a question, that takes lots and lots of time to try to explain, and lots of layers of complication in lots of different areas. You got people that are adamantly opposed. They think it's a job killer, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. But you're correct that if we went to $15, it would raise revenues.
Thank you for the call. I tell you what, before we go, I want to ask you about, and I'm not even sure where it is right now, but your plan it's part of your road plan, which would assess a fee to contractors if they win the contract to build or maintain roads. Go ahead.
Right. Well, Hoppy, I think this. I think we're getting some pushback on that from the contractors, and here's the pushback, and it doesn't make any sense to me. You've got just the fact of this. I mean, we haven't done anything substantially in probably 10 or however many years it may be, but we have a proposal on the floor right now that's going to build $2.4 billion worth of roads, and we're going to let those road jobs right now. It's going to be a bonanza for our contractors, and for them to push back on that fee, I just don't think it's fair. I think it's hoggish, to tell you the honest truth. But there's even another argument that they may be pushing back from the standpoint that they think, well, those monies could be diverted over to go into maintenance, but we've got it set up for monies for the maintenance standpoint to almost double. So that doesn't make any sense either. And the net of the whole thing is those fees are going there to go to a bucket to try to eradicate this terrible drug epidemic, and we have got to find a means and a method to be able to do that.
Did you see that Eric Ayers story in the Gazette-Mail that 844 people died of drug overdoses in West Virginia last year?
It's just mind-boggling. And when we go to try to field a workforce every day, we can't get people to pass the drug test, and it's just so sad. It's just, we got to fix it.
Bill in Morgantown. Hi, Bill. Welcome in. You're at the Radio Town Hall with the governor. Go ahead.
Hey, Governor, thank you very much for talking directly to the people. I was down at the Capitol last Tuesday with the Montague County and Preston County Day down there, and by all accounts of our party, about 250 or 300 people, we were well received. So thank you very much. In the various meetings we had, you have basically two budgets, and we kind of split up into groups and talk about whatever portion we wanted. I was in the group of the road side, if you will, in of where the budget is, and I know a lot of people in North Central West Virginia through the various contacts I have. The road budget, in my opinion, it will be widely accepted, even if you raise the gas tax by 4.5% to 5%, the DMVPs, the $8 toll free for the turnpike. Pennsylvania to the north of us, their gas prices are roughly 25 to 30% cents higher than ours are. I don't think we pushed the DOH budget hard enough because it'll be so beneficial for a large part of northern West Virginia. Excuse me. And in of that, sometimes we don't need a $2 million bridge built as much as we need the EPA or the DEP or the Corps of Engineers to back off a little bit and let the private public sector work.
Well, listen, if I could just jump right in. A lot of what you say is correct, and we have a redundancy a lot of times that it takes 4 years and 4 different agencies to approve, a sewage plant. And we're on that, and we're working that and everything. But at the same time, we have got to jumpstart this state and to have immediate jobs. The place we need to go to the well on is to let all of our road work that we have on the books today. And that will create that 50,000 immediate jobs. And I appreciate your support, and I think we're on our way to getting to do that.
Governor, let me follow up on that. One of the concerns I hear about pushing out all this road work is, well, a lot of the contractors or subcontractors would come from out of state. They'd bring in workers that West Virginia may not benefit as much as the 48,000 jobs you've talked about. What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, some of that'll happen, but the bottom line of the whole thing is this is only stage one. Because right behind this, we need to have stage 2, stage 3, and we just need to keep building, and keep building, and keep building, and we need to source contractors that will come here and live here, and not only that, we need to expand the contractors that we have here. It's a tremendous opportunity. I mean, for crying out loud, we can't hold back and say we only have one contractor that has 3 employees and 1 bulldozer, so therefore we're going to only do, we're only going to push 3 piles of dirt a year. I mean, this is the opportunity we've waited on for a long time.
How many people come up to you, because you've done a number of town hall meetings, and you're out and about, how many people have come up to you and said, I'll happily pay another 5 cents a gallon to fix the roads, #FTDR?
Hoppy, I mean this to the bottom of my soul. I can stand in front of the good Lord, and I hope to be able to do that someday. I hope and pray. But really and truly, I have yet to have one person come up to me and say, on either side, you're going the wrong way. I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't like you for doing this. In all honesty, everybody sees the hole we're in, and everybody understands we've got to all hold our hands together and run across the finish line together. I don't have any pushback on this.
All right, we'll take a break. More calls for Governor Jim Justice. The radio town hall continues on Metro News from the AARP broadcast location right after this.
All those
MetroNews Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval is presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Town Hall with the governor. Let's go back to the phones. And Brian in St. Mary's. And Brian, you're on the air with the governor. You want to talk about the gas tax proposal. Hi, Brian. Go ahead.
Good morning, Governor. Thank you, Hoppy, for taking my call.
Sure.
My question is the 10 cents a gallon gas tax that you were proposing for 3 years. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for fixing the roads. I average about 150 miles a day driving with the job that I have, and the roads are terrible. But my question is if the 10 cents a gallon for 3 years will fix the roads plus complete the 4-lane from Parkersburg to Wheeling, which has been talked about since the early 70s, we're paying about 33 cents a gallon right now, state tax. How is it that the 33 cents a gallon and our roads are as in bad a shape of what they are right now, but the 10 cents a gallon for 3 years is going to repair everything?
Well, Brian, first of all, remember this. I wasn't here on the 33 cents a gallon and the roads getting into shape that they're in. And the other thing is you're incorrect about the 10 cents. It's 4.5 cents now. And the other thing is, Brian, the thing that you were referring to about the 3 years and sunsetting it, that was the left side of the equation. Didn't have anything to do with the gas tax, because the gas tax has to go into a bond, and as you buy everything, but it doesn't tie back to how we got here in the past and all that kind of stuff, and it doesn't tie back to the 3 years, and it's not 10 cents, it's 4.5 cents.
Ryan, thanks for the call. Text question: Governor, dog racing should stand on its own, or it should be.
I'm not going to let the dogs stand in the way of getting a deal done. Casinos, and not the casinos brought the dogs or the horses. So there, all this is argumentative. All of it's on the table. I'm not going to stand in the way one way or the other. Dogs are not dogs, but there is a real plus to having them from the standpoint of bringing people to the state.
Text: Governor, please stop the name calling. You're better than that, says the texter.
Well, listen, first of all, I think it's petty, because there's so many people that are out there that are really, really hurting. And, I speak real bluntly, and I would be first to say if we are royalty here, and I need to call, Mitch, who's a friend, and Tim is a friend, Sir Mitch and Sir Tim. I'll call them Sir Mitch and Sir Tim if people really want me to do that. But at the end of the day, all I'm wanting to do is us get there and us quit acting like a bunch of babies that don't like, we don't like, when somebody confronts one another and everything. Well, listen, I don't like the fact that there's people sitting at home that their kids are addicted to drugs. They haven't had a job forever. They're trying to figure a way to just have enough food to eat. And we're worried about, the fact that someone called me a walrus or a bear. I don't care about that. I mean, for crying out loud, I look like a walrus and a bear. I mean, and at the end of the day, if I call somebody a knucklehead, I mean, does that mean we have to crawl in a hole like a bunch of blooming snowflakes and just die? Well, I don't think that.
We're going to tell you, you're the one that called you a bear. You called yourself a bear.
Okay. Well, I am a bear. I mean, for crying out loud.
Talk Line continues with the governor. A few more minutes to get in. 1-800-765-8255 to talk directly with the governor on his radio town hall meeting. We'll be right back.
It's important.
Talk Line on MetroNews. Last 60 seconds here of this radio town hall with the governor. Governor, quickly, will you and the Republican leadership and the Democrats, will you get a deal done by the end of the session?
I think so, Hoppy. I really do. You know, of course, I'm an optimistic thinking guy, but at the same time, I believe that we're moving in the right direction, and I think we'll all sit, and I don't think anybody's going to get dug in. I think we're going to all sit, and good ideas are going to come out, and we're going to go with those good ideas, and we're going to get this thing done.
So you don't think there'll be an extra extended session, you think, in the period of time? Well, we're out of time, but I want you to come back. We'll do it again, and I appreciate you coming on today on the Governor's Town Hall.
No, Hoppy, thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it. Governor Jim Justice, Governor of the great state of West Virginia, thanks for being with us. I know I did not get to all the questions. I understand that, but we'll continue here in the second hour just talking about some of the things that came up here. Brad McElhenney will join us. Also, there is pushback on the legislation to eliminate civil service. We'll talk about that. And Jared Calhoun, the coach of Fairmont State University, they got right to that championship game, got beat in the finals. He'll join us as well. This is Talk Line on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.